pumped to be here tonight because one of the things I have to share with you is how different Christmas is going to be for me this year. Some of what I've been learning over the last couple of years, or really over the last year, has shed a whole new light on what it means to be followers of Jesus. And hopefully that will come clear tonight. I'm going to give you the big picture just from the start, and then I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and then I'm going to do some little interactive stuff and make sure you feel good and embarrassed before you leave, because it wouldn't be a good church experience if you don't feel just a little bit of anxiety when you leave. First of all, can I just ask, how are you doing? I normally ask when I'm talking to younger people, I always say, just give me a thumbs up. Like, are people really, just check inside. Am I like doing great? Am I like really doing bad, or somewhere in the middle? Where are you at today? Just give me a... All right. Good. Mostly good. Some people aren't talking. That's all right. That's all right. The point of tonight is to talk about how to heal relationships. My guess is, as you look forward to your Christmas holiday, as I am, you notice that there's a whole bunch of people that you're going to be seeing, and some of those people you probably get this warm wave of excitement, like, yes, I'm going to get to be with them. And then some people, it's like, yeah, I see them anyway. And then there's that third group of people, right? And you're wondering, like, can I miss them, or maybe that could be your kids if your kids are growing up. I know there's an experience, I haven't had it, but I know other people who've raised children have found that as their kids grow up, sometimes they go through seasons that make them a little less likable. Again, I have no understanding of that, but I just hear that happens. So, or maybe you have an uncle. We used to have an Uncle Tim. He worked with the Teamsters. Nothing bad about the Teamsters, but he used to come over our house and tell us these great stories about. One of the stories. I just have to say one of the stories. He said he went to meet with a mob boss, and he sat down to meet with them, and he said, "Yeah, Timmy, you like guns?" He said, "Sure." So he gave him the gun, and my uncle held it like this. My Uncle Tim, my namesake, by the way. And he said, "Wow, that's really good." And then the mob boss asked for it back, and he took a handkerchief, and he took the handkerchief, and he put it in a box. He closed it and put it in the safe. And he said, "That's the gun you pulled on me when I blow your brains out if you ever come across me." And so my uncle used to sit in our living room, and he'd smoke cigarettes and get drunk and drive my dad crazy and make fun of the job my dad had. But every year, we got to look forward to being with Uncle Tim. So what I want to encourage you to do tonight is think about the people that are going to enter your world and what it might be like for you to love them well this year, for whatever reason. Here's the big picture. Over the last year, something I kind of had light bulbs go off, and it put a whole new light on what Christmas is. And here's where these two worlds came from. The big picture is, I live in a world that's called the world of interpersonal neurobiology, or some people call it a psychobiological approach to therapy, which essentially, I say that so that you, for a brief moment, think I'm smarter than I am. Did that work? Okay, good, thank you. Okay, now with that in mind, it basically means that when I do therapy, I'm really interested in what's happening in a psychobiological way between people, like what happens with the brain. And so we're studying the brain, and we're able to study it now as people relate with each other, and we find out what kills relationship. And this whole group of interpersonal neurobiologists have said, we know the poison that kills relationship. And I'm going to share that with you tonight. And then I've also been, I work for a Catholic publisher, I write, I get to speak for a Catholic publisher. I know the last 2 weeks I was in California and then in Florida. Not because it's nicer there, not because I go early and stay late and go to the beach. It's not that. I go there because I suffer for Jesus who suffered for me. Because it's a Catholic publisher. Did I mention that? Yeah. So, but these two worlds, I live in a spiritual world where I'm studying the scriptures and talking to religious people, and then I come over and go to conferences with people who are all about the brain. They're not even Christian, most of them, and we talk about what's going on with the brain. And this past year, I kind of said, oh my gosh, here's the deal. The number one poison that kills relationship is a thing called shame. Shame is a feeling that there's something deeply wrong with me or defective about me, or like it's just not right inside of me. Or it's a sense that there's something wrong with us or something wrong with our family. Do you ever get that feeling? It's not even a cognitive thing. You can measure it in the brain sometimes when people don't even know they have it. Have you ever had that experience? Like, let's say you go to a wedding and you're at the wedding and you see all these people get like happy, and you sit there and you look around and you're like, I'm not that happy. These people are getting married for the right reasons. I didn't get married for the right reasons. And our mind just generates this stuff. And that sense that there's something defective or wrong with me is the essence of what shame is. Now, it's different from guilt. Guilt is a very healthy feeling. Guilt is the sense that I've done something wrong. I've harmed a relationship, and I need to do something to heal that relationship. Guilt is a wonderful thing because it moves us back into loving relationship. Shame is not. Here's the thing about shame, and when you study the brain when people are experiencing shame. When you have a full-blown shame experience, what can happen in your brain is there's a part of your brain called the dorsal vagal self-regulatory system, which is the backside of your vagus nerve, essentially. And tell me if you've ever had this experience where you just feel so bad. Like, I can remember when our kids were being raised, and when we were raising them, and I had just a bad parenting day. You know, like one of those days where I didn't have good impulse control, and my kid was in the back seat asking for stuff. And I kind of had this idea that I had given her lots of stuff. Have you ever had that experience? And I was sort of thinking that what ought to be coming from the back seat ought to be something more like, you know, Dad, you're just the most incredible human being, because we had a sleepover last night and we had all these great, but she didn't do that. She was asking for more stuff, at which point I just blew up and said horrible things to her. Now, I felt terrible about that for a full day later. The following morning, I woke up and still felt bad about it. That's a full shame reaction, and here's why. Because when we have a full shame reaction, those of you who don't care about the brain are like, okay, can you get through this? But just stay with me. When we have a full shame reaction, this part of the brain it's a slow, primitive, they call it unmyelinated, which means the nerves move really slowly. When that part gets activated, it shuts everything down. In fact, if you're having a shame reaction, you would do much worse on cognitive tests. If we gave you an evaluation of your empathy skills, they'd be much lower. Your ability to follow your conscience is not even there. And your ability to connect with other people is gone. In fact, when you take a child, and when a child experiences the loss of a parent, like the parent leaves or is traumatically taken away and you scan their brain looks exactly like one of us whenever we're having shame, when we feel defective to our core. So it turns out we can have a brain state where we feel broken, like to our core, something is just bad and not working. And when that happens, we can't be in relationships. So if ever there's shame in a relationship, it doesn't work. Now you're saying, what does that have to do with spirituality? So here's the other thing I've been doing lately. I've been rereading the scriptures. I've been really following a guy, his name's Kurt Thompson. He's a Christian psychiatrist, and he would say to us that the one theme consistent in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation is this, that God has come to take away our shame. If you go back to Genesis, if you remember the story in the garden, right? Adam and Eve sinned, and what did they do? They hide. Now, does it say, then they got up and said, we better go find God and tell him what we did? Do you remember what happened? They were hiding, and God came looking for them. He came after them. And then you read the rest of the scriptures, and you find that our God just keeps coming for us. Like he keeps pursuing us. In fact, you go through the Old Testament, and you find all these people that the religious people at that time had decided were too far from God, right? They couldn't experience God's presence, whether it was Samaritans, sinners, people who were sick, lepers, you know, women who were bleeding, people who were sick, dying. All these people that were said they couldn't experience God's presence. You know what they all have in common? Read the Gospels. Who does Jesus come for? You open up Mark's Gospel, and he just starts going after all these people who are supposed to be religiously unsavable. Jesus came for them. Now that's true from the Old Testament right through the end of the New Testament. So what does that mean for us? Here's the thing that kind of makes my mind explode. You think about that day back 2,000 years ago when Jesus was born, right? And you think about the scene. You know, we have all the lights, and when the lights will dim again, we'll see how the light is penetrating the darkness, and the darkness can't overcome it. And you say, what is the story of Jesus about? If you look in the cultural situation back then, Jesus' birth was a story of shame. He was not born in a great place, in a hospital or an inn, or with friends or with family. He was born a stranger out in the middle of nowhere, around farm animals, right? He came in the most darkest place of the planet. He died a death. What did we say about his death? It was a death of shame. He took the shame of humanity on him. So what does that mean? It means everything we celebrate this Christmas is almost like, it's like D-Day. Like when Jesus is born, it's like a raid. It's like the kingdom of God came and raided the planet with love. And the message for you and for me is, you're loved. And you think to yourself, well, no, you know, I'm really not. If you really knew what I did, like, I don't even belong in a Catholic church, right? Like, if you knew me, I would ask how many of you feel that way, but we won't, because I'd be a little too vulnerable for right now. But I was talking about something like this with a group of the youth ministry group in Florida last weekend, and I was saying, how many of you have experienced shame in the last month? And everyone's hand went up. How about in the last week? Yeah, everyone's hand was up. I said, how about the last couple days? And more hands up. Okay, how about since this morning? It was like, yeah, because shame is that common to us. Shame is the thing that is. So what would it be like? What would it be like if we took those parts of our life, those parts that we don't tell anyone? And by the way, you know you have shame if you have things in your life that you would be afraid to tell the people closest to you. You know that stuff? You know, like you never say to your friend, oh yeah, you know, I was about to go to bed last night, but then I was on my computer and I thought, what the heck? So I took a half hour, like that thing that you would never say to anybody. It's a good chance that's a source of shame because it feels like something broken, something that's so bad you can't even bring it into the light. What would it be like if that was a place that you brought to God tonight? What would it be like if we took those, and not just brought it to God, but brought it to maybe even someone else in our life? So let's talk for a moment here about how we break shame. Because we're sort of in a great place to break shame, being as we're in church at all. So the